Welcome back to our channel. Today's video is one you absolutely don't want to miss. We're diving into the surprising love stories of three of Korea's most stunning and successful women, Yoona, Suzy, and Shin Min-ah, who made the bold decision to get married right at the peak of their careers. Why now? Why not later? The reasons will leave you speechless. From stardom to personal happiness, we'll uncover the powerful truths behind their choices and how they're changing the game for women in the entertainment industry. If you're ready for a story full of emotion, empowerment, and elegance, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our future updates. Let's get started. When the dazzling lights of the stage are shining the brightest, when every endorsement, every drama role, and every red carpet appearance is theirs for the taking, why would a woman admired by millions choose to step back and say yes to marriage? Why now? Why not later? These are the questions people asked when three of South Korea's most beloved stars, Yoona, Suzy, and Shin Min-ah, decided to embrace love and commitment right at the peak of their careers. But behind these surprising choices lie stories of strength, defiance, and deep personal meaning. Yoona, the goddess of girls' generation, wasn't just an idol. She became a force of elegance and class, conquering both music and acting with grace. Her beauty was often compared to that of royalty, her aura always composed, unshaken. From international tours with SNSD to starring roles in hit dramas like Big Mouth and The King Loves, Eunice seemed to be unstoppable. Her brand value skyrocketed as she was named Muse after Muse, the face of luxury campaigns from Paris to Seoul. Just when fans thought she was reaching an untouchable level of stardom, she made the announcement: marriage. To many, it was as if the sky had fallen. But Yoona didn't waver. In a heartfelt letter to fans, she said, "I've given my life to the stage and screen, but now I want to begin a new chapter with someone who respects that journey." Her groom? A non-celebrity, quiet and grounded, someone who had stood by her through the whirlwind of fame. Some were shocked, others supportive, but the truth was clear. Yoona had made a choice not from weakness, but from power. She had nothing left to prove. Choosing love at her peak wasn't the end, it was the next victory. Then came Suzy, the nation's sweetheart, former Miss A member, the first love of Korea. Her acting accolades began stacking up, from While You Were Sleeping to Vagabond to Anna, and her ability to switch from a romantic lead to a powerful, nuanced performer made critics turn their heads. She wasn't just a pretty face. She was redefining what it meant to be a Korean actress in the global era. Add in her million-dollar endorsements, solo music, and consistent spot at the top of every beauty list, and Suzy looked destined to remain on the summit of fame for years to come. But then, the news broke. Suzy was getting married, and the reaction was nuclear. Fans debated online endlessly. Why now? What about Hollywood? What about her upcoming drama? Yet Suzy, always poised, simply said, "I want to live a life that's truly mine. Love isn't a distraction. It's a part of who I am." Her marriage was not a retreat. It was a rebellion against the expectation that women must choose between love and legacy. In a world where female stars are warned to stay single to preserve their marketability, Suzy dared to say no more. And then there's Shin Min-ah, the timeless beauty, whose name is synonymous with classic elegance and quiet charm. Her chemistry with Kim Sen-hoon in Hometown Cha-Cha-Cha reignited her fame with a whole new generation. But Shin Min-ah had been a respected actress long before that. With critically acclaimed performances in My Love, My Bride, Tomorrow with You, and more. She had built a career with care, making selective choices that kept her relevant and respected across decades. And through it all, fans noticed the quiet presence of Kim Woo Bin in her life. Their relationship had survived the storm of public scrutiny and the real storm of Kim Woo Bin's cancer diagnosis. Shin Min Ah had stood by him, not just as a girlfriend, but as a pillar of strength. Their love story was no K-drama fantasy. It was real, painful, and incredibly beautiful. So when they announced their marriage, the nation didn't just applaud, they cried. Here was a woman who had everything: fame, power, money, yet she chose to stay through the darkest times and eventually chose to marry not for prestige, not for headlines, but for love that had been tested and proven unshakable. What connects these three stunning women, Yuna, Suzy, and Shin Min Ah, isn't just their beauty or their fame or their influence. It's their audacity. They redefined what success means for a woman. For so long, female celebrities were told to hide relationships, delay family, and sacrifice love on the altar of ambition. But these women dared to love loudly. They weren't afraid to show the world that success doesn't have to mean solitude, that commitment isn't a cage, that being in love isn't the death of a woman's career. It might just be the most powerful statement of independence. Behind the glimmer of their wedding photos, the designer dresses, and the sparkling rings, lies something far more precious: choice. And that is where their power truly lies. Not in the number of dramas they star in, not in the brands they endorse, not in the awards lining their shelves, but in the courage to make decisions that defy the industry's unwritten rules. Their weddings were not the end of an era, but the beginning of a new narrative, one that refuses to see women as temporary stars who must shine alone. For so long, the unwritten rule in the entertainment industry has been cruelly simple. A woman's desirability drops the moment she's no longer seen as available. But what if availability isn't the currency anymore? What if authenticity is? Because when Eunice stood at the altar, she wasn't just a bride. She was still the face of global brands, the actress whose roles carried emotional depth, the idol who helped shape a generation. The ring on her finger didn't dim her aura, it enhanced it. And when she stepped back on set after marriage, something had changed. Not her professionalism, not her beauty, but her presence. She radiated calm, purpose, maturity. People noticed. Critics raved not just about her looks, but about the emotional complexity she brought to every scene. That's not regression, that's evolution. Suzy, too, didn't retreat. She became even more in demand. After announcing her marriage, she was immediately courted for more sophisticated roles, women who had lived, who had loved, who had struggled. It's as though the industry finally saw her not just as a symbol of innocence, but as a full human being. In her next project, insiders say she'll be playing a lawyer who must juggle motherhood and power. It's a role that mirrors Suzy's own life, and audiences are hungry for that honesty. They want more than fantasy. They want reality with sparkle. And Shin Min Ah. Her marriage didn't pause her career, it amplified it. After years of quiet support and private strength, she emerged more powerful than ever. She began giving interviews not just about beauty or skincare, but about resilience, grief, and what it means to love someone through illness. She became a voice, not just of elegance, but of endurance. That kind of truth can't be bought. It can only be lived. And here's the twist no one saw coming. Brands didn't drop them. Advertisers didn't panic. If anything, the demand increased. Why? Because these women now represent something far more valuable than fantasy. They represent trust, depth, and aspirational living, a new kind of modern woman. Marriage didn't make them less desirable, it made them more real, more human, and paradoxically, more iconic. You see, what shocked people the most wasn't the marriages themselves, it was how much support poured in afterwards. Fans who once believed in the fantasy of perpetual singlehood, of unattainable stardom, began to say, I want a love like hers. The parasocial dream didn't shatter, it matured. It transformed into a deeper admiration. It's no longer about imagining yourself as their lover, it's about wanting to be like them, strong, free, brave enough to love openly. And even male